Let me tell you why you feel so unfulfilled right now. In spite of all the good things you have going on, you still feel like there's something missing. Let me help you narrow down the reason for the lack of fulfillment. You haven't yet tapped into your purpose. You were born with a purpose, you came to earth with an assignment, and that's the good news. You will imitate fulfillment until you have clarity of purpose. That's the not so good news. Let's take it a step further. I bet you that someone listening to me right now has a sense of what their purpose is, but lack the courage right now to embrace it because it will require leaning into discomfort. It will require becoming comfortable being uncomfortable. And part of that discomfort, as I talked about in a previous video, is we're going to have the emotional maturity to not worry about people's opinions of what you were put on earth to do. Everybody has an opinion. And when God exposes you, when God elevates you, when God puts your spiritual gifts on display, you become a target for criticism and opinions. But let me help you with something. The reason why the opinions seem to keep coming is because your enemy works hard to reward those who criticize you. And the reason why opinions are so easy to find is because they have no consequence. Opinions have no consequence, which is why you can find them everywhere. But opinions from others is never superior to your opinion of yourself. See, what we have to do, we have to internalize what we hear for it to influence us. Because what they think of you, their judgments have no consequences. But how we interpret, how we personalize, how we internalize what they say has a huge impact. Now, I'm not being negative, I'm being biblical. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody had an opinion when Jesus started his earthly ministry, when he began to walk in purpose. Everybody had an opinion. But Jesus had enough emotional maturity to know that a person with an opinion has no power over a person with knowledge and experience. So the purpose paradox is this: you will not always look like where you are going. Because remember, I told you, purpose is not linear. It's full of ups and downs. It's full of highs and lows. So when you walk in purpose, you'll have to learn to live in the tension of what God said and what they are saying. You'll walk in the tension of your now and God's not yet, because purpose is a journey. And this is where the greatest challenge is. The journey of purpose sometimes leads you and I into isolation. In the book of Genesis, chapter 37, Joseph announces his purpose to his family. His purpose was to be in a position to save the people, including his family, from a famine. But not soon after Joseph announces what he was put on earth to do, everything went left. The next thing we know, Joseph is in a pit. A pit is an isolating place. And the pit didn't look like purpose. Being falsely accused and thrown in jail looked nothing like purpose. But Joseph had to learn to live in the tension of purpose and the paradox. He had to learn to stay true to who he was while at the same time looking like he misspoke, looking like he didn't hear from God, looking vulnerable. That was the process that God chose for Joseph? So the purpose paradox is that you will not always look like who you're going to be, and sometimes your life will defy your purpose. Because process is a part of purpose. Okay, so why the process? Why do we need a process? Because our Father knows what we lack and what we need to steward or to manage our purpose well. All right, let me help you. The Bible says, "My God shall supply all my need according to his riches and glory." My God shall supply all my need. We like that, right? My God shall supply all my need. Well, what if you need a season of isolation? What if you need a season of betrayal? What if you need a season of lack? What if where you are right now is the very thing God is allowing to mature you? My God shall supply all my need. Between purpose and fulfillment, there will be a process that seems, hear my words, that seems to contradict everything you know God said. But rest assured that God is not a man that he should lie. If he said it, he's going to do it. But what you and I have to learn in this season is to trust God in the process, to lean into the process so that he can get everything in us and out of us that we need for purpose. The purpose paradox. Do me a favor. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and share. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. God bless you now.